Well, what can I say? Kieran here from Speaking Spurs, talking all things Tottenham. And unfortunately, after another what we thought was decent victory that could be a springboard for us, we're going to talk about a negative performance, this time in the FA Cup fifth round against Middlesbrough at the Riverside Stadium. 1-0 loss, right, right late on in the game, taken to extra time. And it's a bit of a disappointment. So me, Kieran from Speaking Spurs, those of you that are new to the channel are welcome, and those of you that are not, hello. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do so you get notified when the next video goes live. Don't forget to support the video with a like if you enjoyed it, even though it's on a pretty depressing subject. And make sure, and most importantly, you leave your comments below. I do enjoy the chat that you have amongst yourselves as Spurs fans, and I get involved in it as much as I can, but with the channel growing, it's becoming increasingly harder because there's many more comments than there was from day dot, so thank you. Right, so let's talk about it then. Unchanged side. Every single person played again that was in the 4-0 victory against Leeds, where we scored 3 goals in half an hour, which is an unknown quantity for Spurs recently. Look, it's a process. We've lost identity under Pochettino towards the end of his reign. We were really struggling. Mourinho comes in, wasn't supported in the transfer market. Nuno obviously wasn't high enough profile to demand enough respect from some of our bigger players, couldn't turn it around tactically. And here we are with Conte. And what we need to understand, he's not a miracle man. He's a very good coach, and there are some things that have changed under his tenure so far, but consistency is not one of them because that's a mentality issue, and that takes a lot longer to overcome. Not to mention the fact that as I keep saying, we let 4 players go in January, only brought 2 players in. So our squad depth is not great when you counteract into the fact that we have injuries to Skip, Bentancur, Lucas Moura. So our options on the bench are not great, bearing them, you look at the bench for the game against Borough, 2 youngsters on there, Scarlett and White. So it tells you everything you need to know about the situation we're in at the moment. Okay, so let's talk about Borough. So they're sitting 8th in the Championship. They've got 2 games in hand on some of the teams, 1 game in hand on others. And if they win those, that will then put them into the playoff positions. So, they're not a weak side. They are pushing for promotion this season. They have Premier League pedigree. They have players within their squad that have been in the Premier League before. But for us, it's another trophyless season, which is very disappointing. But as I say, it's that mentality that's not quite getting us through game to game. So great win against City, disappointing loss against Burnley, lovely win against Leeds, disappointing loss. We're seeing a bit of a pattern here. And unfortunately for him, every time he has left the side unchanged, we've really struggled the next game. And I think that's to do with fatigue, but also tactically he doesn't change things early enough, and I don't think he's always got the personnel that he wants to implement his tactics. But let's talk a bit about what Conte has said. So we need to make the team more stable than it has been in the past, and that in itself will be key to changing the situation at Spurs. This defeat has to hurt me, the players, and everyone that works at Tottenham. His reaction in the press conferences, and this includes the Burnley one, is tactical in his opinion. People that he's worked with in the past have said they need to use the stick and carrot approach, which is, you play badly, you hit them with the stick, be a bit aggressive and passionate, and then when they play well, you dangle the carrot in front of them, give them a bit of praise. Unfortunately, the carrot doesn't seem to work for Spurs. He just needs to hit them with the stick, and hopefully that will push them on to the next game. He said you have to kill your opponent in these type of games. When you continue to miss your chances, which we did, it gives them confidence. The longer the game goes on without us scoring, the more belief they have that we're not going to score, and they will have the opportunity to score. And that's exactly what happened in this game. We gave them so much confidence. Time on the ball, we made them look good. They overrun us in the midfield. He said, since the Moura match in the European Conference League, we have improved in a lot of situations, but we are having too many ups and downs, which is very evident to see in the results. Borough were better on the day. We allowed them to have the ball in the first half. Well, this is more on what I want to say now. So we allowed them to have the ball a lot in the first half, and I do think that was tactics. We genuinely allowed them to have as much of the ball as possible so we can hit them on the break, take full advantage of that. And we did win the ball back in deep in our half and were able to break, but unfortunately the passing wasn't quite right, or the we would lose the ball too early in the attack. And there was some good defending from Middlesbrough as well to retrieve the ball. So yeah, on the break, I thought we were very sloppy in possession. Our shooting was off. We were too hesitant at times with our passing. And I'll mention a few plays later that were pretty poor at that. Our centre-backs on the whole, I thought, defended well, other than Romero from set pieces. He's not very good at staying with his man. He quite often just stays rooted to the spot, loses his man. And as we saw, they get on the edge of the ball, which can be dangerous. We didn't actually concede from that today. We did against Burnley, which was his fault. This time around, luckily, it came to nothing. But it is a worrying sign and something he needs to correct in his game. We should have changed to the back four earlier. We definitely improved after the switch in tactics, but Borough changed their tactics as well as both teams decided to go for it. I just felt like we waited 15 minutes too long. We saw it wasn't working. We didn't have the right players on the bench to completely change the game. One of the substitutions did nearly work for us in Steven Bergwijn. However, we didn't lack. We lacked the qualities, and that's down to the injuries within the squad and just the depth because of the transfer window and the players we got out. Speaking about Borough players, I thought Fry produced a great tackle on Kulusevski in the box. There was a couple of scrambled goal line saves from their keeper. Matt Crooks sent his free header over the bar. McNair, I thought, defended well throughout the game. And then we have to mention Johnny Housen, man of the match by an absolute mile. He was great throughout the whole game. He's 33 years old now, spent most of his career with Leeds and then Norwich. He moved to Borough in 2017. He was absolutely everywhere on the pitch, in the tackle, in attack. He wanted the ball constantly. He was very composed, ghosted past players, looked every bit a Premier League player in this game. And I thought he was head and shoulders above everyone in terms of quality and desire. So let's talk about the players themselves. As we said, unchanged side. Hugo Lloris in goal, player ratings time here. He comes away with a 6. Didn't really have anything to do until the 88th minute, making a save to deny Jones from a play where we allowed them to come onto us too much. He made a big save against Tavernier, whatever you want to call him. That was from his volley in the first half of extra time, but he couldn't stop the Coburn smashed effort into the back of his net. Christian Romero comes away with a 5, the lowest of the defenders. Loss of concentration a couple of times. He lost Housen in the box from that set piece, which I was talking about. And his marking from set pieces recently, in my opinion, has been poor. Eric Dyer comes away with a 7, the highest of the defenders. He had his decent free kick, which was from distance. However, had it been a bit closer, possibility he has enough power on it to get it in. But from that distance, you need a bit more power. Nonetheless, good position, made the keeper work. He headed wide from a Son corner. And to be fair, it was wide and over. It was a fairly decent header in the end because Sonny played it nowhere near far enough to the near post. So Dyer had to travel quite a bit, and Dyer was really furious with himself for not scoring, which I don't understand because he made the best of what he could. He had another header that was scrambled off the line in the final minutes of the game. I thought he was vocal, he was organised. He actually told off Son in a disagreement that he was having with Højbjerg, and I think there were times where he was trying to point players where to go and they just weren't listening. So from him, decent display. Davies comes away with a 6. He was brought down outside the Borough box when he latched onto a loose ball. He flicked on one of the corners for Kane, and that was for the disallowed goal, so that would have been an assist. Tried hard in defence and attack. Doherty comes away with a 5. He started bright. He rounded the keeper at the end of the first half, but there was a poor decision there. He either could have took a more delicate shot or played the ball into Sonny in the middle of the box, but he decided to hit it too hard. He also had a low wide shot a couple of minutes later, but I thought his performance tailed off as the game went on. Perhaps that was down to tiredness. He hasn't had a lot of minutes recently, so match sharpness isn't going to be 100%. That will come with time. So I felt like there was a bit of an excuse for his waning performance as time went on. Sessegnon on the other side only comes away with a 4. He, like Doherty, was good early on, but he spent most of the game having to defend. He didn't take on his man as many times as he should, I feel like, as the game went on. It wasn't just tiredness. I feel like he lost his confidence a bit. Then into the centre of midfield, Winks comes away with a 4. Sloppy passing from him in this game. Chasing shadows, really. And sometimes, not always his fault, when we were on the ball, sometimes there was no options for him. He'd have the ball, look around, have nothing to do, hold on to the ball too long, and then sometimes make a poor pass out of frustration. Højbjerg, fairly similar, comes away with 4. I thought he was too slow with the ball. And he was hesitant in his pass. Sometimes the pass was there, he hesitated, and then other times he just made the wrong pass. Instead of taking the simple ball out to his right or to left, he decided to try and play a killer ball when there was defenders all around, people like Kane and Son and Kulusevski. So from him a 4 as well. Kulusevski, he comes away with a 6. He was hard working, picked out Doherty for a good chance. He needed more composure himself when he was in and around the box with his shots. Excellent ball for Son in the final stages of normal time. He had a low shot in extra time, which the keeper saved and for some reason was not given as a corner, just a goal kick. And he set up Sonny again for another missed chance. Sonny comes away with the lowest score of the day, a 3. I thought he was really, really poor on the day. Missed a couple of chances. He missed the big chance when he sent the header at the goalkeeper. And that ended up being from about 7 yards out by the time he latched onto it. And I felt like instead of going the obvious side, he should have tried to head it across the other side. Not saying it would have gone in, but it would have certainly made more hard work for the keeper and the defenders. Dyer and Kane both had to tell him off in the second half and extra time for certain things. He did get in good positions throughout the game, but his finishing was poor. And I found like he kept running into danger throughout the game. He just kept running into defenders, holding onto the ball too long. Just really, really poor display from him. And then Harry Kane, he comes away with a 4. Little to no impact throughout the game. He did score, but it was offside, and it was actually a tidy little finish. He slipped over a fair few times. His passing way off his own standard. And yeah, just a bad day for our starting 11, really. Bergwijn, so we're now talking substitutes. He came on, he gets a 5, made an instant impact, bursting through the middle, good energy. There was a good tackle to deny him from their defenders. However, I feel that probably could have gone with his left foot. It was the fact that he tried to go with the right that caused that. We did fail to get him on the ball enough, I thought, because our passing was so poor. Bergwijn was there to be given the ball to drive at Borough. And I think we should have brought him on earlier as well, because he provided a good amount of energy. And, then we just couldn't find him, which was terrible. And to ask him to do it all again, like we did against Leicester, not fair. Next up, Emerson Royale comes away with a 3 as well. Played Coburn onside for the goal. I remember when the ball went in, I remember thinking, oh God, he's offside. And then when I had a second look at it, you realise that Royale had played him on. He lost the ball nearly every time he got it. Absolutely terrible. Reguilon comes back on, making his return from COVID. He only comes away with a 4, contributed very little in the game at all. And then Dane Scarlett, once again, comes on too late to have an impact. So I'm not going to give him a score. So yeah, it was an annoying game in the sense that it was there for the taking. We just didn't have the attacking intent or quality. And I don't know whether it's a desire thing. Players find it hard to get up for these games against lesser teams. I will talk about the blessing in disguise now. Obviously, it's terrible that we're not going to get the chance at a cup. However, under Conte so far, we have played better when we've had a week to prepare. Because we're out of all cup competitions now, it means the majority of our games, apart from maybe the rescheduled game against Arsenal, which could be chucked in to have 2 in a week, the majority of them now will be 1 game each week, which means under Conte, he's got his time not only for recovery, he's got time for preparation, the analysis they want to do of our own performances, the analysis of the teams we're coming up against. And for Conte, with the limited numbers he's got in his squad at the moment to bring off the bench, I think as much time as we can get working as a team with a long period of time is probably the best for us. So that in itself could be a turning point in the season. And then once the players get more experience and used to the system and the demands of Conte, we can thicken out the squad in the summer, fingers crossed, get the numbers in to add a bit of depth. And then you don't have to worry as much about having a full week to prepare because you've got enough players to rotate, and those players can be worked on in the build-up to the game after that they're going to play. Rotation is a massive thing, and this is why teams like Liverpool, City, Chelsea, well, I mean, not so much now, Chelsea are having a bit of a blip, but that's why they do well, because they have the big squads. They're able to work with certain players on certain elements and aspects of the game ready for certain situations, and the flexibility to change the formations constantly when they have to. So hopefully that's something that we can look forward to in the future. I am hoping that this extra time does give us the push that we need and the time to work for these games. And that's pretty much it. So next up for us is Everton. That will be on Monday the 7th at 8 p.m. That is live on Sky Sports for you to watch. I will do some more videos in between. Luckily, we've got the time to talk about other things that we need to talk about, anything that comes out over the next few days. We can talk about predicted lineups for the Everton game. We'll have a talk on how Everton are performing under Frank Lampard, a little bit of a chat about Dele Alli that's moved across there. We'll talk about how he's getting on and how I think we can break down Everton and what we can do to get this season back on track. Very topsy-turvy. Somehow we're still in a fight for top four, and that's just down to the inconsistency of the teams around us. But that also just shows the level of the Premier League now. Very tight in and around the top four. It's looking like at the moment it's Arsenal's to lose because of their game in hand, as much as I hate to admit it. It is theirs to lose, but hopefully they crumble under the pressure as they have done in seasons gone by. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed my little analysis and thoughts on the game. Let me know what you think on player ratings, how everything went. So thanks for sticking around. Don't forget, if you haven't done to subscribe, like and comment. So thanks for sticking around, and until next time, I have been Kieran at Speaking Spurs. Come on you Spurs.